This is CP Woodstock.
CP Woodstock, nice long lengthy area, 2 tracks through town, so we can do lots of passing within this area of the layout.
Mm-hmm.
We have a flour mill,
Yep.
Another wood distributor, Crown Lumber, coal company and building supplies, a BA oil dealer within the town,
Yep.
a bunch of BA trucks. Our freight shed, our CP freight shed. Good thing CP had a lot of standards.
Yes.
Eventually, where this red dot is, there'll be a 75-foot turntable.
Okay.
For the CPR guys that do the way freights can come around and turn their locomotive. It'll be just a 180 turn.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, this was the very first station we built, CPR Woodstock.
Yes.
With its little express building. And again, because CPR had such standards, a lot of the different stuff, Galt, Streetsville, all had the same style of station. So once we got the first one, it was very easy to do a few different.
A few more.
Standard Tube, a company in Woodstock. And then Eureka Foundry, another foundry, and a junkyard. There's some really good little scenes within the junkyard area.
Notice there's a lot of painted backdrops here too.
Yep. One of our members was a car painter by trade, and he decided to tackle the backdrop, and it really came out really well.
That's nice there.
Yeah, some good different junk piles and different things. And then these are the 2 tracks from the other side where we saw Baden.
Yes.
Went in, and they come out on these 2 levels. Can go up to Ingersoll.
So the LEDs flashing means don't bump your head.
Well, yeah, it's supposed to.
It doesn't work for everybody.
A few of us have bashed our head on it.
This is a nice layout yard here.
This is Ingersoll. Right now, one member is working on the actual station. Again, speaking to friends, we could not find a lot of information on the CPR Ingersoll station because it was very unique. And all of a sudden, in my inbox came 12 photographs taken in 1966. So it was enough to work from, so we're working on building it now.
Great.
And that'll sit right in here. And then we did a whole bunch of different industries, an Esso dealer, the freight shed. Because of where Ingersoll was, it went on to Port Burwell. So we have our coal traffic arriving and departing through a couple of yard tracks for Port Burwell. Port Burwell would be down the line, but we don't have that much.
This is a real
shape.
classic setup here where you have trailing and facing switches and a runaround track.
It's a challenge.
Yeah,
And
well,
it's a stub-ended little area.
Yeah, this is just like your own little time saver.
Yep. Actually, during open houses, this is the perfect area for one of the members to do switching, because you're not tying up the main line. Because in an open house, you just want to keep things turning.
That's for sure.
But this is off of the main line, and it's a great little area for switching. Unfortunately, it is high.
Yeah.
But we give stools to the little ones, and that way they can see the different areas.
Yeah. It's a different material there with the stone.
The stonework, yeah, a gentleman made that. It's our Vinegar Works. It came out really nice, well painted. Again, painting each stone basically individually. Our 2 high bridges over the whatever river you want it to be.
One of those rivers.
A couple of fishermen fishing off the piers.
Yeah.
One of the things we do in our open house is we have 20 items the kids can find for a little prize. And it varies. I have about 5 different scavenger hunts, all different things. So one of the things on one of the scavenger hunts is find the fishermen. So they move around, actually. They don't always stay at the same place. But right now they're in this river. And that was just with paint.
Yep.
It's not with epoxy or anything. The one, Frank, just kept applying different layers of clear, and after he got the base down, and came out really nice.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of work with water lately, and I just paint the base and then just put the clear acrylic over top of it.
Yep.
It's fine.
Yeah, it comes out
Put a
really
little bit
nice.
of crystal coat on top of that. Works great. If you wanted to add a little bit of rapids, it's pretty easy to do just by using some cotton batting and stretching it out, and then adding the clear acrylic into it.
Again.
Yeah, very nice.
So one of our things is we have a quarry.
Yep.
In the sense of Utopia, which really isn't on our set of railway tracks. Utopia was north of Barrie, that was served by both railways. This quarry is served by both railways, so each railway comes in and does their work and then leaves, but using the same set of switches. So we have CN tracks, CP tracks, and a big quarry structure.
Well, there's sure a lot of those in Ontario too, aren't there?
Yes, they did. And then this is our double track main drag that goes into the London Yard. Off of this area here, we have a turnout for London East.
Yep.
London East has a cross-dock area, also the area for the TOFC vans. That was a fun little project I did. I found some photographs. Before the resin cars came out, I cut up and hacked apart a bunch of Athearn vans to make them look correct, and then painted and lettered them. Now I've got some other ones to do for CN and CP, so we haven't done the CP ones yet. And then I took 2 lifelike cars and customized them into have the proper look of the decks, and learned a bit from Al Crisp about piggyback service. He's very knowledgeable in the 2FC trailer on a flat car realm.
Saw a fox run across there a minute ago. Oh no, that was a spider.
They're large.
Yeah, aren't they? They add some life to the layout too.
Yeah, especially when you run them over. Then our corner here is a little farm scene from Sylvan Models. Nice little farm scene. I should have more farm field, but that's my own opinion.
Yeah.
One of the things we do for fun at the scavenger hunt, there's tanks. We have a Panzerwagen and a Sherman that float about the layout. You can see them in the background. So they rotate around the layout because the kids always like to find those.
Now this is main industrial area.
This area
London.
here is London East. So a lot of different industries in this space in here. Benton Lumber, Thompson Boilers, Gorman Etchies. There's a Super Test dealer, a coal dock. So it gets fairly filled in here, and then you can see in the background is the actual London Industrial, which is actually off of the yard, but really starts to look industrial in this area. And that's the London East. It's another stub-ended town type area.
Yep.
And then as you come through, we have some industries in the lower area of the London Yard. junk dealer. A whole bunch of auto frames didn't make it, so they're going to scrap. A box maker, Dominion stores, foundry, our big freight shed.
Yep.
For the London freight shed. And then in behind that is all the passenger station, which eventually will go where the gray structure is standing up. We have some photographs from Ian Wilson books that we can work off of. Unfortunately, it'll be the back of the structure, not the front of the structure.
Not the front, eh? Oh, well.
There won't be quite enough space, but yes, our passenger if CN has more power, we have 4 tracks of passenger equipment, unlike the CAP guys.
Yeah, even the passenger cars have got that, lost their sheen, and they look nice with the weathering on them.
Well, there's various different ones in there. Most of them are Rapido.
Yeah.
And then we did actually...
These looks like more of an associate member's work, though.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Very much
They don't
so.
look like a regular member. Not quite up to snuff. I think he did them himself.
No.
Yeah, well, maybe they are better than we think then, eh? Ron, we love you.
We put a viaduct, or a subway, as they would call it, in through the yard, because a lot of the London area had subways. So it could be Richmond Street, it could be Victoria Street, I believe, but we put one in to represent the London subway area.
Yeah, I see a number of those in Toronto, too, in places.
Yes, but the London had quite a few.
So there's a bit of work to do in here still.
Oh yes, there's still a lot. This is one of the last areas where I am working on the London Roundhouse.
Oh yes.
London Roundhouse was actually 40 stalls.
Yeah.
We do have 40 tracks, or will have 40 tracks. But I'm only representing 21 of the stalls because of different space allocations. But again, another guy came up to me with the plans for the London Roundhouse, so I'm using those. I made masters and then cast off different pieces and how many I need, and then that'll be 21 stalls of the London Roundhouse.
Amazing. That'll be great.
The turntable is built off of actually more of Stratford's turntable than London's turntable, but it is functional, and all the tracks that are laid are functional at this point in time. It's just figuring out.
And that's an index turntable, is it?
It is. It uses a, what's those little machines? It'll come to me.
Little machines.
Yeah, the
computer-based
little
ones?
computers.
Oh, you're talking about Arduino?
Yeah, that's the word.
Little things.
Yes, it's powered off for an Arduino.
Awesome. Yeah.
So it we have that
Raspberry Pi and all that stuff that goes along with it. That sounds like it's almost dinner time. Eh?
But yes, the track works in there. That is functional. See, the original Roundhouse only had one approach and one departure, but we have a set for the passenger yards and a set for the freight yards, and then everything else will fit inside. Then we come over to this side. Scratch built, same guy that built the Milton Station built this scratch built icing platform, and it's actually based on the Stratford icing platform. Did great work with it. Lots of details in it. The actual ice blocks. That's another one of the scavenger hunt items. How can you have ice on the layout? Well, you gotta look.
Yeah. It's there.
It's there. And then our sorting tracks for the CN side of things.
Yep.
And then our arrival departures are in front of that. And we actually have the engines come off and go down and can be switched in and back out, just like the other side will eventually. The one thing that's going to have in the background will be the London coal dock, which was massive. It's going to be right along the back side of the pit area, which is the wood colored. We're going to change that. It's going to get changed to scenery instead of wood.
Yeah.
And then the coal dock, we're going to move there's a set of turnouts already in. Those have to move down so we have enough elevation to get to the coal dock, which will be at the other end.
Yep.
Then our London industrial area is at the far end of the yard. We're going to have another packing plant, so another area where there's going to be lots of cattle traffic. and pig traffic. Redone a model here to bashed and smashed. It's actually the brewery kit.
Yes.
A couple of those. And then behind the other part of the brewery kit became Kellogg's, which has to be completed. So it was in process. McCormick's Candies, we have a BA station.
That's very nice, yeah.
Scratch built by Welch. And then for our little area beyond the layout, because the refineries are actually in Sarnia, we do have a BA refinery here to represent Sarnia and beyond.
Yes.
And that also gives us our oil traffic, because we do not have any hidden staging. It's all visual.
Yeah.
So everything goes from end to end, and then that way we do have somewhere for the tank cars to be loaded and shipped out.
Yeah. Furnace is great, eh?
Yeah, London Foundry and Steel.
Yeah.
Member took a bunch of photographs and created that structure.
Mm-hmm.
And then also London Cement. And actually London Cement is sitting on another pop-out, where it'll just lift straight out and won't affect anything. But again, you got to lift it straight out.
Yes. So you got some Ulrich cars or something there too.
Yes, I spent a lot of time
With Ulrich
searching
cars.
for Ulrich cars.
Yeah, everybody seems to be.
And
I have a couple of friends that have them.
I have done.
I keep looking. Any
Now it's
secret
really
supply
hard.
stash?
But yes, there's 10 of them on the layout.
Yeah.
And I have 3 more that I'm working on, but only one of them is mine. The other 2 are going to.
Well, you never
friends.
know. After a number of hits on the website, maybe somebody will have a whole bunch sitting in boxes, looking frustrated and saying, "We'll get a chance to get rid of those." You just give me a call.
Yeah. Well, again, taking, as you said, with the equipment.
Yeah.
So it starts off as a very blobby looking 1950s
Model
freight car kit.
Yeah.
So I actually take it all apart and actually do all the understructure, because at the one point where the layout is 60 inches off the floor, you can see all that pipe work hanging below the car work.
Yes.
So we tried to make it as realistic as possible. And then I added all the different gussets. At this point in time, before Black Cat came out with the right decals for this, I was using 3 different sets of decals to get the correct decal work for the car. And then painted them up, lettered them. The dots on the cars, that represents who owns them. So myself, I'm a white, green, white. So there's 3 dot combinations. And that, in case the car card leaves the car for some reason, if there's something mechanically wrong with the equipment, it gets returned to the owner to be repaired by the owner.
Okay.
Unless you come across a club member car, which those that find it fix
it. Right. Very nice. So a lot of work.
A lot of work.
A lot of time, but a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
And as we say, when you show people a photograph and they think it's real,
Yes.
that's, you met that goal.
Yeah.
And the other thing I like to do, we're open 2 Sundays in the spring, 2 Sundays in the fall. We try and get as many people in as we can.
Yeah.
And through that, we try to represent a section of 1955. So therefore, an area people can recognize some of the structures, the stations and that.
Yeah.
And then we hear quite often, "Oh yeah, I grew up 3 doors from that house." And so it's interesting sometimes when you get some of those people.
Well, for the club, you seem to be well coordinated. You must have had good leadership.
Yes, we've had great leadership. Unfortunately, our president passed away just recently.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
But there's a structure we're putting on the layout to commemorate him. He was a
Wonderful.
land surveyor, so we're making a land surveyor's office that'll reside in London, because quite often he was the yard master in this London area.
Fantastic, yeah.
So yes, our club needs basically 2 yard masters, can have 5 mainline throttles going, so 5 guys upstairs, and if a proper run night, you probably have about 4 way freights out on the layout. So gets to be very busy on the railway if everybody was to appear.
Do you do notifications for appearance, or do they show up or not?
It's
just
show up or
very,
not,
very casual?
Yeah, it's very casual, especially in the summertime, but yeah, we try to actually have proper run nights later in the fall. And this time of year, in August, it's people are on vacation, and it's hard to get everybody out. But we have 2 levels of membership. Full members, which are card-carrying, voting, key-carrying members. And then we have associates that can arrive on our run nights and play trains.
Yeah.
Whether it be way freight, mainline, whatever operation, or yard master if they want to learn that. And then, so they have that opportunity, but they have to have somebody, a key-carrying member here
To open the door.
To open the door. So we do notifications via email and all that.
Oh, nice.
Stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, terrific.
Thanks.
Well, thank you for showing me the layout.
No problem. Love to share the layout.
Yeah, of course we all do. It's pleasurable to see more railroads.
Well, it's tried to be as prototypically within our constraints, of course, but try to do the scenes as good as we can to make it look as realistic as possible.
Well, you've done a great job here.
Thanks, Chris.
So, we're trying to recreate the West Toronto station, CPR station.
So when you look at the station here, the components of it are laser cut?
Yeah, this is the freight shed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a breezeway between it and the main station.
Right.
And to do the brick walls, I bought a laser cutter,
Mm-hmm.
which I have in another room here. And I had to draw up all the bricks so they could be laser cut. And this was my learning how to do it. It's a fair bit of learning you have to do to get some results.
So the laser cutting technology has basically allowed you to take a set of plans from the original and scale them down to the right size, and then you build each component, adding the brick texture, and then you laser cut it.
All in the computer, though. I started out with a set of plans for the original station, and but to do the laser, actually, you have to make a 2D drawing of each surface. Like this is about 6 pieces here.
Yes.
So that's one piece, and this is one piece, another piece. So you have to draw in 2D all these brick lines.
Okay.
This takes some time to do. And then the windows have arches over them.
Yeah.
You have to draw that up.
So when you're putting the brick lines in, then your basically next step to give it texture is to indicate that the lines are supposed to have a certain depth of cut.
Yeah, I cut the lines. They're about 3 or 4 thou deep.
Mm-hmm.
And I paint the thing gray,
Yes.
which fills up the mortar grooves. And then you have a roller. I think it's a roller that artists use for lithography to roll the ink on.
Yes.
It's a rubber roller. So you put some, I'm using oil paint.
Mm-hmm.
You put some here and you roll it back and forth so you get a nice thin coat. And you roll it onto the part that's painted gray. And if you develop the technique for a while, you get a pretty decent looking brick.
It's interesting to when you're applying a rolling layer, you have to have enough depth though, so that you're not going to have it seep in.
Well, you have to roll the
paint fairly
out
thin.
really quite thin.
Yeah. So is it almost a dry brush consistency, or is
no? It's still oil paint.
Yeah.
Oil paint's made for. I guess the pigments are extremely fine.
Yeah.
you can roll it out into a very thin
Layer.
and then just roll it on top of this.
So you have a practice piece on the side and you roll and roll until you get what you want, and then...
Well, after a while you learn pretty well how much rolling is needed. So this was the practice, and I made all the ones for the actual model, but there'll be a bit of carpentry and gluing them all together. And,
of course.
And I don't have the foundation, but they're cut stones, they're not boulders. And they go up on a bit of an angle, and then there's a capstone all the way around the top. So I figure I gotta make a piece that's probably this long, and then I'll cast the others off that.
Well, that's quite the project ahead of you.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while. I drew them up in 3D.
And then you cast them in a resin? Or?
No, I had them 3D printed.
Oh, 3D printed, okay.
By a 3D printing outfit. There's a lot of these windows here.
Yes, they're
which to
very
make
unique.
Them by hand would be like a 10-year project.
Sure.
So there's a lot of windows and bigger windows. Multiple windows. Garage doors. On the canopy that goes over the platform, there's these things that support the roof. And they have this chair built into them.
Nice.
These are seats here. But they didn't print as well as I'm going to have them reprinted. And then these hold the roof up. So it takes you a little while to draw those up, but to make 5 of those things that look decent would take forever.
Fantastic. Well, it's quite a job. Thanks for showing them to me.
You're welcome.